Good evening, guys. Warm welcome to the program. There was some technical difficulty when I have arranged this episode number 13 yesterday. Today, I hope things are clear. Let us continue with the next episode on warehouse and inventory management. In this session, we are going to focus more on performance measurement or KPI. There will be a great continuity if you are able to watch all the session and continue with this. Let me attach the screen. So, continuing with our previous session, in this session, we are going to discuss on the topic of warehouse and inventory management, a specific subtopic, performance measurement or KPI, key performance measurement, especially when you are working in the warehouse management area. Before that, brief introduction about me. My name is Pattavi Raman. This is my Udemy profile, and also this is my LinkedIn profile. You are welcome to connect or follow me in the LinkedIn profile. And if you want to improve anything, you have to measure. That's the quote says. What you do not to measure, you cannot control. On the other hand, if you want to improve, you have to measure. That's what it is conveying. So you need to know what to measure if you want to improve certain things, especially in warehousing and supply chain. You should know what you want to improve and what are the factors which is going to impact these parameters. Okay. In today's economy, it has been said that the customer is no longer the king, but he becomes the dictator, which is very true. It is far cheaper to keep an existing customer than find a new. There is a ratio of 1 is to 5. So if you want to find a new customer, you may have to spend more than 5 times to get a new customer than holding on to the existing customer. So here we need to understand what we have to measure. Maybe the top one comes to mind is customer satisfaction, and also organization should develop a culture of continuous improvement within the operation, and they should be in a position to discover the potential issues before they become a large problem. This is where we need to measure. Of course, there are various manual record, which even today we can use it. But if you have a lot of transaction, we have to find how to automatically record them and monitor them. Here, in the image, you can see a particular task being done in the warehouse. For example, pick order, order number is there, start time, finish time, and how many cases are filled, how many lines per order, and what kind of equipment is fixed. And here finally you have the measure, how many cases were picked per hour. And when it comes to performance measurement, we should be clear what we should be measuring, and not that only what is easy to measure, but we have to measure what is meaningful and which can help in improvement. So there are some few metrics which we have to measure. Number one is reliability. Second is flexibility. Third one is cost. Fourth one could be asset utilization. When it comes to reliability, we are talking about a factor such as on-time delivery or fill rates, accuracy, and of course, each one of this has a detailed measurement. In fact, we do all this in detail in our various other program. If anyone of you interested, you can just peep into our website. But here we are going to see at a macro level how each of this metric can be measured. When it comes to flexibility, we are looking into order cycle time. It covers all aspect of customer order process, how we handle the order initially, whether we have the stock available, how quickly we can process the order, and how quickly we can deliver to the customer. It is the time between we receive the order and the time when we deliver to the customer. Of course, one more important aspect could be cost and asset utilization. Cost measurement could include such as percentage of sales and productivity against labor hours. Asset utilization will include efficient utilization of warehouse space. MHA is nothing but material handling equipment, staff, and storage equipment. Specifically, when you are trying to measure with respect to staff, you need to have some detailed time and motion study. For example, you are receiving 10 trucks or 100 trucks in a day. How many trucks can be downloaded by an employee using a forklift in a shift of 8 hours? And when we talk about space, it could be in terms of number of pallet spaces that can be stored, and how efficiently you are managing the space. All this could come under asset utilization. Of course, all this performance measure must be aligned to and governed by customer expectation. If customer wants a 2 days delivery, you cannot measure or perform the same activity in 3 days. Accordingly, it should be aligned one with customer interest and also with the company's resources. There is a need to balance the level with the cost of providing service. Of course, customer can expect all excellent service, but at a lower cost. So we have to find out the cost of providing that service. Is it economically feasible for the company for the given price which customer is willing to pay? Okay. Then how to choose a right performance metrics in a warehouse environment? First, we need to understand the business and our strategy, decide on objective. Possibly there is a strategical planning made by the top management, and that is percolated to supply chain strategy. Inside the supply chain, we have the warehouse and inventory management. This is where we should be clear on objectives and understand which KPIs are likely to assist in meeting these objectives, and also ensure that everyone works towards achieving these targets. If the target is not realistic, replace it. It's not as simple as just replacing it. If your competitor is able to provide better service, you have to re-engineer your services, how it can be improved so that you can meet the best in the market. This is where we use some technique called smart means all your goals or objectives should be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and timely. So whatever goals or KPI you are trying to set must be very realistic. At the same time, it should be stretched, not exactly what can be done, but it should be stretched. And this is where a lot of benchmarking operation can be done. Of course, all whatever you are specifying as a goal or objective should be specific to the work the employee is undertaking, and it should be measurable. It should not be approximate or qualitative, and you have to convert every qualitative nature into quantitative. And there should be a time specific. It should be to a specific time period. If anyone is live, you can always watch in the YouTube. Any questions? Those who are watching live. Those who are watching live. You can either type in the chat box so that any clarification I am available. There are some consideration while setting the KPI. For example, use a terminology that staff understand and meaningful to them. It should be two-way. It's not that you are defining from a supervisory level and the employee does not understand. Try to use common industry KPI so that you can benchmark across the industries. Of course, this data should be reviewed regularly. Only introduce the measure you can, you can change. Okay, this is where we take reference of the smart goals. And coming to the traditional productivity measure, which can be kept as a KPI, could be labor hour utilization. On the other hand, how many hours in a shift labor is remains unutilized. Labor hour divided by total hours available. Okay, it may not be 100%. You should find out how much is the available hour. Maybe you should deduct whatever you are providing for lunch or other rest period. There can be similar measure like that. For example, warehouse area utilization, how much is the cubic space available and how much you are able to stuff inside that warehouse. In any case, when we are talking about warehouse area utilization, safety is also very important. You should not compromise on the safety. Okay. Next could be material handling equipment. One of the most expensive item in a warehouse could be forklift. How many such equipments are there? How many hours in a shift those items are being used, and how much effort you are able to save because of this material handling equipment. Warehouse cost as a percentage of sale. This is also one important metric for the warehouse manager to know. So it's very easy for any company, the sales figure. And of course, warehouse cost should also be known to the warehouse executive. Cost per order dispatched, maybe we have seen different ways of calculating the cost in our previous session. If you have seen that session, then it is possible to measure cost per order. Units picked per hour, of course, a unit could be number of pieces or cases or pallets per hour. It all depends upon the time study undertaken by the team. Dock to stock time, the time from when you have downloaded the material and then you are putting into stock and updating in the stock. So this is also one of the important metric in the warehouse operation. Order accuracy, possibly not only from dispatch but also incoming order accuracy. On time shipments. There are also various other performance measure. For example, OTIF is more frequently used nowadays. On time in full. For example, you are supposed to dispatch to the customer every day. There may be hundreds of order. Are you in a position to dispatch each day on time and as per the order? All the lines are dispatched. That is OTIF. For example, on time delivery 97%, in full delivery 98.5. Then OTIF can be calculated by product of these two figures. Then we also have one more metric called perfect order. On time delivery into in full delivery into damage free into accurate documentation. Here we are trying to take four important metric and try to find the product. Of course, here even achieving 90% is excellent. Not that all companies are measuring perfect order fulfillment, but if you need to provide higher level of customer satisfaction, then you have to measure the perfect order. Okay, coming to the inventory, we can measure in terms of stock cover in days. You can always say 10 days worth inventory or 2 weeks worth inventory is available in the warehouse. Of course, this can be calculated by dividing current level of stock by the total sales and then multiplying by the number of days in a year. It can also be mentioned in terms of a stock turn. Assume you have 6 months stock, which only means that inventory turnover ratio is 2. On the other hand, if you have only 3 months stock, it means you can turn that inventory 4 times in a year. Okay. Total sales divided by average inventory. Sales here we are specifically focusing on cost of goods sold. Okay. Stock cover calculations, we have lot of templates. If you are enrolling for any of our program, you will get more details on this. Coming to one more important aspect in a warehouse management, of course, we are going to see inventory management in the coming sessions. Maintaining physical inventory accuracy is one of the important tasks for warehouse manager. Of course, here we are not talking in terms of aggregate inventory value, but individual value. For example, if you are having, if the warehouse is having 10,000 stock units, how many stock units are matching exactly compared to the physical stock to system stock. So if you are able to maintain about 95%, it seems to be fine. But if you are working in an industry where your customer is continuous production, for example automobile line, then you are expected to have much higher level of accuracy. In fact, we will see all this in our inventory management sessions. You can specify this accuracy in different ways, like location stock accuracy, or stock line accuracy, stock unit accuracy, and possibly you can also identify the obsolete item and represent them either financially or quantity and present it to the management. And the idea of warehouse manager is to minimize the creation and stocking of obsolete inventory. Okay, when it comes to the quality of service, reliability factors includes, for example, providing service as promised. It is not only supply of goods, maybe the clarification or documentation included. Dependability in handling service problem, performing service right the first time, providing the service at the promised time. So, in the warehouse operation, it is not only supplying the product at time. There are a lot of other service characteristic which has to be measured. And you can see, for example, error free records is also one of the thing. Integrated performance model, you can just see one of the metric where it is trying to combine all the metrics and giving some kind of a weightage and measure the score as per the rating. And then finally you can have overall aggregate score. For example, here we are talking about the category of perfect order completion, inventory accuracy, housekeeping, safety, labor productivity, space utilization, labor utilization. All these are given some target rating, and weightage is also given for each of this category. And there is a target score to be reached, and a person, especially from a improvement team, can rate it. It could be a management supervisory talk. Sometimes it can be self assessment also, which can be validated by either by supervisors or third parties. It can be a mix of actual performance data and customer perception. You have in this particular metrics how low this can go and how high it can be performed. Here we are trying to compare benchmark industry response in case of best performance. For example, perfect order index can be as above 99%, whereas median is 95%. Of course, if you are watching this program, you can take a screenshot of this. You may not find this kind of a metric available anywhere. This gives an idea about a benchmarking result. When we talk about top 20%, They are the globally best practices, and here you will also get an idea about what are the metrics we are talking about, how low a metric can go, and what is the median as well as top performance. Okay, this is where benchmarking comes into picture. Where what is benchmarking is you are trying to compare your performance with other organization. Maybe they could be your competitor or the leader in that sector, or overall best performing organization. This is how you will be in a position to improve. This benchmarking originally championed by Xerox Corporation. It is a process of comparing performance with the operation of other companies or operations within the same company, identifying best in class operation and learning their process. Benchmarking is required if you are trying to improve your own organization's performance, and also understand how where we are standing in the competitive market, so that we can identify any shortcoming, discover what others are able to do better than our organization, identify performance that can be demonstrated to be achievable. Okay, and also accelerate and manage change. This is where there are a lot of tools and techniques are available. For example, balance scorecard as provision to measure four aspects, starting from customer perspective, internal process perspective, financial perspective, learning and growth perspective. It is originally developed by Kaplan and Norton. Usually, many of the organization they focus on a financial perspective alone, but now this kind of balance scorecard gives importance to other factors like including customers. Each measure will have objectives and targets which are measured against actual performance. So, anyone watching live, you can always type in your queries. And if you are watching offline, you can note down the WhatsApp numbers. You are always welcome to reach this number either directly to me or to our executive on any doubts or clarification on this topic, or if you need any career advice or any advanced program. Any questions, you're always welcome. Thanks for watching. Have a nice evening.